For a little over a year now, I have been going through the new City Catechism in my youth ministry. And having gone through that experience, I just wanted to share some quick takeaways with you all today. Why pick the new City Catechism? Why incorporate that into your youth ministry? For me, it was an answer to the question of how do I incorporate spiritual formation into kind of the big picture of what we want to accomplish in our youth ministry. We take a student from 6th grade and imagine that student going all the way to 12th grade. What are the things that we need to cover? And one of those things is spiritual formation. Conversation about deep and meaningful things. Who is God? How do I live my life? How do I understand the Trinity? And stuff like that. So the New City Catechism provided us a framework for having those spiritual discussions that I hope would lead to spiritual maturity in the life of our students. I think it did a really good job of that, and I'll share just a few more kind of like my takeaways, pros and cons and things real quick. As far as like a curriculum is concerned, you're getting a lot of value. I don't need a several $100 curriculum. The New City Catechism, it's like $50 and you're getting 52 questions. If you wanted to, you're going to do a question a week. Now, one of the takeaways for me was it took a lot longer than a year because some of those questions you're going to want to dig deep on. I think there were a few questions that we even did for several weeks, if not a month. And so you get a lot of value out of what the New City Catechism is providing you with. They give you a sweet little box, it's really loud when you open it. They give you the workbooks. This is the curriculum. It's 3 workbooks that cover the 3 sections in the New City Catechism. And each question has basically an outline. If you wanted to rely on their outline pretty heavily, you could. For us, again, we kind of just wanted the discussion material. We have a program set. Some of you already do. And so you're just going to incorporate some content into that program. And you don't want to spend several $100s just to do that. The conversation about youth ministry curriculum could be something for another day. But just real quick, I find that I just don't use that much. So you spend hundreds of dollars and maybe I'm using 10%, 20% of what I get. So the value is just not there for me. $50, New City Catechism. And what I gain is that someone has done some research for me. It allows me to be efficient in how I prepare for a youth group. And to give you some context, at one point, we were doing 5 different teachings every week because I teach junior high, senior high, Sunday school, youth group, and a Bible study. And so I just needed something that allowed me to be more efficient in the preparation that I do for youth group. And that's what I get with the New City Catechism. So I felt like the value is really, really there compared to some of the other curriculums that are out there. Now, it's not designed for a youth group. It's designed more for parents and for young people. But I found that it's really easily adapted to youth ministry. And if you haven't already seen the initial video that I did on some of my thoughts on why I wanted to incorporate a catechism into youth ministry, you can check that out as well. I realize I'm going through this all really fast, but hopefully you're with me. For us, my hope, and I do think it did this, creates an opportunity for dialogue around meaningful things, particularly spiritual things, God and all the stuff that I just listed. So that dialogue is really an important thing that I think we should have in youth ministry, and a catechism is a great way to create that dialogue. There's also a web app that you can use, and there's a phone app. This is something that I had hoped would have been incorporated more into my youth ministry. And I think there was some wishful thinking there about the whole memorizing of the catechism and the questions and the answers. And it's just, you do feel like you're going against the trend. You're swimming upstream trying to get students to memorize a question and an answer. So I didn't push that too much, and maybe if I had to do it again, I would have tried to do that. I think if you were teaching younger kids, this would be a little bit easier because you could kind of set them up with the idea of a catechism being the way they learn. For older students, it's just a little bit of like I said, swimming upstream or kind of pushing against kind of a trend. It's just not the way we learn. And each week your group is so different. And so you're not always going to have the same student, like maybe they memorized the question and the answer from last week, but then they don't show up the week following. And so that is something that, yeah, if I had to do it again, I may try to incorporate that a little bit more using the phone app, getting memorization to take place, and just, again, making the students aware that the app was available to them. I thought that that was something that was really cool about the New City Catechism, but it's something that, personally, I just didn't push too much, because the app allows you to read the scripture passage. It allows you to look at different commentaries that they have. And I thought it was really good. Even the songs, which again are for little kids, and so it became kind of a joke for us, and was very, very much it was cringy. Let's just say the songs are cringy, but our students thought they were funny, so we went ahead and played a few of the songs. And the app is free, and the online resources are free. The only thing you're paying for is the workbook that is going to set up a little bit more of a program for you, like beginning prayer, activities that you want to do, closing in prayer, memorization activities if you want to do those. And so that's what you get with the curriculum. And then maybe the big takeaway that I thought was really just maybe the most positive thing about the New City Catechism is that it's a great way to get students to ask questions that maybe they didn't even know they had. Maybe they didn't even know they needed answers to these questions. And it does create good, meaningful dialogue with your students. They've got good discussion questions. So if you break up into small groups, very easy to have really good discussion questions around a small group or a big group, or however you want to do it. But creating that dialogue and showing students that you can have meaningful conversation about these questions without it being argumentative and things like that is really good. It's a great way to demonstrate dialogue, the benefits of dialogue, I guess is what I would say. And with that, I think what we would do is just give it to parents and encourage parents to take their kids through the New City Catechism. We may incorporate it again in a few years, but I think that the setting of a family maybe around a table with different age groups is kind of more apt for what the New City Catechism is. Maybe a youth group or a Sunday school isn't. I would say Sunday school more so than youth group. And maybe that's what I would do in the future. We did do this during COVID, and so a little bit of context for the review. I mean, we did Zoom, we used it in our Sunday school, and we used it in youth group. And so in the different settings that we used it in, it really did adapt well. And so that's a strength of the catechism, and just these questions that as far as our church tradition is concerned, have been asked and answered for generations upon generations. And so that is a testament to the strength of this catechism and just how it can be used. So now somebody has turned the lights off for me, and that should be the end of this video.